like a hand into a pocket, and closed over Lowboy's body and held him still. He kept his right cheek pressed against the glass and felt the air and guttered bedrock passing. I'm on a train, he thought. Skull and Bones aren't on it. I'm taking the local uptown. The climate in the car was temperate as always, hovering comfortably between 62 and 68 degrees. Its vulcanized rubber door jambs allowed no draft to enter. Its suspension system, ribbon-pressed butterfly shocks manufactured in St. Louis, Missouri, kept the pitching and the jarring to a minimum. Lowboy listened to the sound of the wheels, to the squealing of the housings at the railheads and the bends, to the train's manifold and particulate elements functioning effortlessly in concert. Welcoming, familiar, almost sentimental sounds. His thoughts fell slackly into place. Even his cramped and claustrophobic brain felt a measure of affection for the tunnel. It was his skull that held him captive after all, not the tunnel or the passengers or the train. I'm a prisoner of my own brain pan, he thought. Hostage of my limbic system. There's no way out for me but through my nose. I can make jokes again, Lowboy thought. Stupid jokes, but never mind. I never could have made jokes yesterday. Lowboy was 5'10" and weighed 150 pounds exactly. His hair was parted on the left. Most things that happened didn't bother him at all, but others got inside of him and stuck. Nothing to do then but cough them up. He had a list of favorite things that he took out whenever there was a setback, ticking them off in order like charms on a bracelet. He recited the first 8 from memory. Obelisks, invisible ink, Violet Heller, snowboarding, the Brooklyn Botanic Garden, Jacques Cousteau, Bix Beiderbecke, the tunnel. His father had taken him snowboarding once in the Poconos. The Poconos and the beach at Breezy Point were items 9 and 10. His skin turned dark brown in the summer, like an Indian's or a surfer's, but now it was white as a dead body's from all the time he'd spent away. Lowboy stared down at his dead-looking arms. He pressed his right palm hard against the glass. He came from a long line of soldiers, and was secretly a soldier himself, but he'd sworn on his father's grave that he would never go to war. Once he'd almost killed someone with just his 2 bare hands. The tunnel straightened itself without any sign of effort, and the rails and wheels and couplings went quiet. Lowboy decided to think about his mother. His mother was blonde, like a girl on a billboard, but she was already over 38 years old. She painted eyes and lips on mannequins for Saks and Bergdorf Goodman. She painted things on mannequins no one would ever see. Once he'd asked about the nipples, and she'd laughed into her fist and changed the subject. On April 15, she would turn 39 unless the rules changed, or he'd miscounted, or she died. He was closer to her house now than he'd been in 18 months. He had these directions: transfer at Columbus Circle, wait, then 6 stops close together on the sea. That's all it was. But he would never see his mother's house again. Slowly and carefully, with studied precision, he shifted his attention toward the train. Trains were easier to consider. There were thousands of them in the tunnel, pushing ghost trains of compressed air ahead of them, and every single one of them had a purpose. The train he was on was bound for Bedford Park Boulevard. Its coat of arms was a bee and Helvetica type, rampant against a bright orange escutcheon. The train to his